You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio. Welcome, listeners, to another episode of All Good Things, a Star Trek Universe podcast here on BQN and the Fandom Podcast Network. I'm your host, Amy, and with me today is Mark. Hello, Mark.
Good morning, Amy. How are you?
I'm doing great. So glad to be back recording Trek with you. Beautiful day. You've had some time with Murphy.
Oh my God, the last couple of days have just been heavenly. It's like all of a sudden we skipped right over spring and jumped into summer. Yesterday was in the 80s, and we went for a very long, like 7-mile hike through the woods, went around a few ponds, and it was so much fun.
Yes. And how about that evil tree that attacked you?
Oh, goodness. Yeah, I got stabbed in the face by an evil tree yesterday, and I'm recovering. But, it cannot dampen my spirits.
Right. Well, today, as of this recording, it is Mother's Day here in the United States. So happy Mother's Day to all of those women out there. We do not have Christos and Kelvin with us, but we do have a guest host for us, and that is Captain Jeremiah Brown, who is the host of our newest podcast here on BQN, Captain's Couch, a Voyager podcast. Jeremiah, welcome to All Good Things.
Hi, Amy. Hi, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Your first time here on All Good Things. And how's
Not
your
actually.
new podcast going? Wait, what?
He's been here.
A few times.
Yeah, this is, I think, the third time.
Third time. First time with
fourth
me.
time.
Oh.
How about that?
No, we did the after STLV show last year.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Okay, listeners, my
Scratch
memory.
that.
Well, it is still special that you are here with us for our third time. I'm just curious, how is your new show going? How are you liking it? What's been exciting for you?
It's going really good. I've been having a lot of fun with it. Surprisingly, I did not know that I was going to be as into it as I am. I've had some awesome guests. I've got a few more episodes for this first season to go and have those mapped out with my guests locked in, and looking forward to some more great Voyager conversations. I can't go into too much detail because it's all tentative right now, but I do have one, possibly two very special guests from inside of the Star Trek universe slated to come on down the road.
Oh, what a tease you are. Woo!
I didn't want to get anybody's hopes up in case things fall through, because we all know in the world of entertainment and trying to get people that are legit scheduled to do something, it can, be confirmed one day and then gone the next.
Right. Well, listeners, if you follow Captain Jeremiah on any social media, you might have an inkling as to who it might be, because he's pretty good friends with a lot of good people inside Star Trek. All right. Well, let's check to see if we have any feedback. We do have some from our holodeck malfunctions, Prodigy, Ghost in the Machine. Mark, you want to start us off?
Absolutely. This is great. We got feedback. This has been a while. So this is from Matt Harker, who writes, I completely agree with Christos on the holo program for concerts. I would definitely do that specifically too. I was such a huge fan of Choose Your Own Adventures, as well as the condensed illustrated classics paperbacks. Cool.
Huh. I'm not familiar with the paperbacks, that condensed one.
I'm not either.
Huh. Well, Matt continues to comment specifically to you, Mark, and says, I learned last weekend at DNI Con that Nana hated the intendant due to how narcissistic she was. I was surprised.
Man, that I find that sad because I love her performance as the intendant. Like, it's, as I said last week, delicious. Oh,
You would absolutely never know that because of how well she's played that. That is saddening. I love the intendant.
And
yeah.
it's interesting because a lot of actors who say they have this character, and then when they get to play an evil side of it, they're like, oh, that was so much fun because it's so different than the normal. So yeah, I find that surprising
Yeah.
as well. Well, thanks, Matt, for commenting and letting us know those things.
Well, now it's time for All Good World. From Las Vegas to Boston, USA to Canada and South America. From the United Kingdom to South Africa. From Russia to Australia, the South Pacific and beyond. This is All Good World. Each episode, we highlight a different location around the globe where this podcast has reached. Today's episode, we'd love to give a special shout out to Guatemala. Hey, Guatemala. Fun fact, the territory of modern Guatemala hosted the core of the Maya civilization, which extended across Mesoamerica. In the 16th century, most of this area was conquered by the Spanish and claimed as part of the Viceroyalty of New Spain. Guatemala attained independence in 1821 from Spain and Mexico. In 1823, it became part of the Federal Republic of Central America, which dissolved by 1841, and so it's now just Guatemala. But interesting fact there, I didn't realize that the central location for the Maya Empire, and this is something I learned from my research, was actually Guatemala. I thought it was Mexico, but nope, Guatemala. Very cool.
Yeah, because it's on that Yucatan Peninsula
Mm-hmm.
part of it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark, if you hadn't done that research, I would have never known either. Like you, I thought it was in Mexico.
Yeah. Because I've been to Chichen Itza, which is one of their largest cities, and that is in Mexico. But it is very, very, very far south in Mexico by Guatemala. So makes sense.
Yeah. Very good. Well, listeners, today we have Jeremiah here as a special guest because we are covering a Voyager episode, and that is Timeless for our alternate realities, part 1. And Mark, I was so excited for this topic because I'm like, this is going to be where we get to talk about, like, we could do cause and effect and parallels and like all these episodes that everyone loves.
Mm-hmm.
And so we assume to not cover them because everyone loves them. But now we get to talk about these amazing episodes. I'm so looking forward to this series. So
I was thinking about Strange New Worlds, the very last episode of season 1, where it's an alternate reality of what would have happened if Pike didn't, get deformed or whatever. So I want to add that to the list too. But yes. I want you to know that this alternate realities series is actually your creation, Amy. When I went through, the episode ideas document that had been created long before I ever started, there was this section. I don't know if it was called that per se. It might have been, but it had all of these episodes in it. And so, nice. Thanks, Amy.
Oh, there's my memory going again.
In another reality, you remembered.
Yes. All right. Well, a miscalculation by Ensign Kim causes a fatal crash during Voyager's first test with the slipstream travel. 15 years in the future, survivors Chakotay, Kim, and the Doctor attempt to send a message back in time to prevent the tragedy. So, Jeremiah, when you heard that we were covering this topic, you definitely wanted in on this. And I think I heard that it was one of your favorite episodes. So tell me why you wanted to be here discussing this with us on All Good Things.
It is, Amy, one of my favorite episodes of Voyager. I have very distinct memories of watching this for the very first time when it aired. And that I would have been in the 8th grade during that time. So this episode, it is not only from a story standpoint one of my favorites, but it takes me back to my childhood. I mean, vividly. I remember every detail of watching it for the first time. So it holds a very special place in my heart. And being involved with Garrett and Robbie over on the Delta Flyers, this episode has been discussed by Garrett, and he has shared with us that it is, it was pitched to him by Brandon Braga as being Voyager's City on the Edge of Forever. It was written and developed by Brandon to be the seminal Voyager episode, the one that really showcases everything that the series had to offer. And I think from a Voyager fan standpoint that it really does. It showcases the journey of the ship and the family connection that the crew has with each other through the storyline here.
Agreed. Wow. That's pretty good, because City on the Edge of Forever, that's one of those top TOS episodes.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Well, I, on the other hand, had never seen this episode. This was my first time seeing it. And oh my gosh, I know. I haven't made it through all of Voyager.
Again,
So
what?
I will be. I know. I'm not a completist. I'm working my way through. Thankfully, I'm podcasting so I can get these good episodes. So I was just enthralled from the get-go. I think they aged Chakotay and Harry perfectly. Their determination to find them just really came through. I was just believing them the whole time. And it's fun to have a little, timey-wimey stuff going on. I do have some questions about it, but I absolutely loved it. And how creative to think of using the Borg implant on 7 to send the signal. Like, it's pretty cool. Cause of course, knowing TNG, like that cause and effect where they were sending the 3, like that's what they had to do. And they're like, okay, we need to follow Data's advice instead of Riker's. And that was the message. So sending this message back in time, just wonderful trope.
So one fun thing about this episode that you wouldn't know watching it back in the day when it aired is that this episode goes all the way into Picard season 1 with connections. The speculation, my headcanon, I have never seen anything confirmed, I've seen others agree with me, that Harry mentions that that Starfleet salvaged the Borg temporal transponder from a damaged cube in the Takara system.
Right.
The timeline matches up to Picard season 1 of the derelict Borg artifact.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So even though this is a timey-wimey episode, the timeline still has a way of making certain events happen, and those Borg cubes could be one and the same.
Right. Oh my gosh. It just fits into continuity that way.
Right.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And and you can also extrapolate, because they talk about in the Borg Queen's chamber that they've got that spatial trajector that was assimilated from the Sicarians, that Voyager tried to obtain that technology in season 1 in the episode Prime Factors.
Wow. Well, Mark, when did you first watch this episode? What's your history with it?
Oh, it must have been when it first aired. I was religiously watching UPN when they were dropping New Voyager. It's like, that was my new show. I mean, I was kind of lukewarm on DS9 back in the day. I've grown to love it. It's one of my favorite series. But in the 90s, it wasn't really my favorite. But when they started doing more, trekking through space, I was into that, and I was like, and that whole idea, the whole concept of them being flung into a new area, you get to see different aliens, the journey home, I thought was going to be very interesting, exciting, and so I love the whole premise. It was so enjoyable. This episode in particular, man, it's one of my go-to favorite episodes, has been for a long time. That the cold open, literally freezing cold on the planet. See what I did there? The cold open is just really kind of magical, because first of all, you don't know who's in the suits, and there's like almost no dialogue, and you're like, okay, where are they? What is happening? Is this even our crew? And then you end up discovering, oh, they're on this ice world and it's buried, and you're like, what in the heck is happening? So it was a really cool way to just start the whole thing. I also want to point out in this viewing that I noticed that those little jackets that they were wearing, those were the same ones that Quark and Odo were wearing when they were also on that freezing planet and having to hike up the mountain. They were the same jackets. So
Oh, yeah.
anyway, I didn't notice that till this episode, but you know me, I think I didn't know before suggesting this episode that it was a Joe Menosky episode, but I should have known because I love it so much, and Amy and I both are like Joe Menosky fans, super fans.
Count me in that group.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was reading, like you said, Joe Menosky really wanted to have minimal dialogue to launch that, and I think it works. Yeah.
It very much so, because you can't even distinguish if it's Chakotay or Harry. Once you know who they are, you can't distinguish whose voice that is. Mm-hmm. Underneath all that, it's very well done, very effective.
Yeah. Well, let's get into this future alternate time. So we're 15 years, and I wanted to ask, how do you feel that Chakotay and Kim ended up being fugitives? Like, they're working with Starfleet, they're on the search, they're trying to find Voyager, and then Starfleet's like, well, there's no chance of finding them. We're going to cut our losses. And at that point, that's when Chakotay and Kim are like, no, we're not done searching. So about how long do you think that time period of when Starfleet said no to the time where they actually found Voyager, like how much time do you think that happens?
I don't think there was much time, considering that they had a Galaxy-class starship on their tail. I think that I think they had decided to rebel. I believe they had already left Starfleet, but it wasn't until they got a hold of the Borg temporal transponder did they get the idea, let's hijack the Delta Flyer.
So why? Obviously, they're searching. They don't know where they are. But then at some point, Harry and Chakotay find the location. So why at that point did they not inform Starfleet and say, hey, this is what we need. We have their location. Let's go get them. Because Starfleet would not leave them out there, even if they were dead.
Well, no, Amy's talking about just recovering the ship and the bodies.
Yeah.
I think at that point that Harry and Chakotay would have burned their bridges, and Starfleet wouldn't have cared one way or the other. They would have been.
That's a hole in the story plot, because they would go. They went to Viridian 2 to get the Enterprise D.
Mm-hmm.
They
would not leave Voyager, especially if they knew where it was. So
yeah,
we'll just put that as a generation. But I just thought of that. Yeah,
I thought of that. I was just picturing it along the lines of, it's just because to me it's I see Chakotay very easily becoming a fugitive again, having come from the Maquis. That was nothing new to him, and something he very easily slipped back into. And Harry, with his survivor's guilt, being easily persuaded to join that rebellion. And seeing that Chakotay had defected once, had redeemed himself, defected again, now he dragged Kim involved, stolen classified technology, stole a vessel that Starfleet's like, yeah, we don't want to hear anything you have to say at this point.
That totally makes sense with given the history of Chakotay and him, going off to the Maquis. Ooh, I like that. And then again, I'm just thinking of this. Why would the Delta Flyer be at? Oh, it just was docked. It wasn't like put away, put down, or anything.
No, they just said stolen out of a shipyard. So could have been
okay.
Could have been anywhere.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And I would imagine, though, it had to have been at some secured facility, being that it was an experimental vessel that had hybridized Borg technology in it. I don't, so they had to have got it from someplace that they shouldn't have even had access to.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, now in the reality now, do you think that it is at the Starfleet Museum with Voyager, or do you guys think it is at that what do they call it, the Daystrom station with like more of the Black Ops stuff?
I think that she is in Voyager Shuttle Bay on full display with Voyager at Athen Prime. I think that with anything classified, because obviously you could tell from the shot of Voyager in episode 6 that the ablative hull armor generators had been removed from the outer hull. So I think anything classified or future technology has long since been removed from Voyager for her to be on public display. And I think the same for the Delta Flyer, that I believe that Starfleet would have kept her intact and docked in the shuttle bay on display and have removed anything of sensitivity.
Yeah, makes sense. Return it to the way it would have been when it launched, so to speak.
Right.
Like the D.
Which I also think is because I've heard some people questioning about, well, why didn't they use any of these other legacy ships? And it's like, well, Geordi specifically stated that the Enterprise D was the only functional ship left in the fleet, meaning for me to believe that everything on display was non-functional. There was no dilithium, no deuterium on board to power engines, no weapons. And the D was the only one, because it was his pet project, that was functional to launch.
And he probably, I'm guessing, I forget what the name of the ship is that they borrowed the bottom half of. But my thought is from that could have been the newer acquisition. So it hasn't been stripped yet as well.
Right. The Syracuse, yeah.
Yeah.
Chakotay and Kim are, what they're trying to do is to get the Voyager and that slipstream to work and get them back home. But they send the altered coordinates to, get in the slipstream. And then we learn it still doesn't work. And they're like, oh my gosh, we're still here. What's going on? And so I like that they had to switch that to, okay, us making that work is not the solution. And they had to pivot and say, all right, let's just save the lives. And I liked that twist in that story.
Oh, very much so. I mean, because had they gotten home, it would have ended the series.
Yeah.
So there always had to be an out. But for the solution to be, let's use the technology to save them rather than to accomplish the mission, was very well done, very well pulled off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it was a twist.
I'm just a little surprised that it took the doctor yelling at him for him to figure that part out, because it would have been like, I would have, if I tried the coordinates that I had thought of for, I don't know, 10, 15 years, tried them, they didn't work. My next thought immediately would have been like, okay, let's cut our losses. Let's just make the thing. It seems like a no-brainer to me. So I know it's not regeneration, assimilation yet, but that's a regeneration for me.
Well, I think that it took the doctor throwing a cold glass of water in Harry's face, because he had spent the better part of 15 years obsessing over his mistake. And it all sprung from the fact that it was his responsibility that he took on to get them safely through the slipstream. And that's the only place his mind could go. He wasn't thinking clearly enough to think, hey, I can save them rather than get them home. It took the doctor slapping him metaphorically in order to get that across.
Yeah, I like that too, because Harry is so focused and has been working. All right, this is what I did wrong. I didn't get those coordinates right to get through the slipstream. If only I could change that. Like, that's your only thought, because that's the only thing you did wrong.
Right.
And you have that thought until you actually apply that action. So he didn't know the consequences of it. It was only until he tried his theory and tested it that he's like, oh, that didn't work. And then, yeah, he's out there and like, well, gosh, I'm out of ideas. So thankfully, we did have the doctor throwing that cold glass of water in his face. Yeah.
And isn't it a credit to Starfleet engineering and holo programming that the doctor's program the Matrix stayed stabilized after 15 years of the ship being destroyed under ice?
Yeah.
I mean, the gel packs were frozen solid. The odds of his Matrix being stable enough to be used, let alone removed downloaded back into the emitter without any degradation, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And same with the Borg technology.
Yeah, well, I mean, Borg technology.
So I was thinking about that time and going back to fix it. And this, I think, is a really good story because, like I said, like them getting to the slipstream and getting home is such a good story, but it's twisted and it's like, well, that's not a good story because everyone on Voyager dies. Like that really could be a prime timeline, and then we would have stories of Chakotay and Kim. But all of these timey-wimey stories where it's like, well, something in the future is bad and we have to go back and fix it. And that really got me thinking, like, does that hurt us as a society overall? Because when we look back at our decisions, like, oh, if only I could go back in time and fix that mistake, that would put us on a different timeline. Is that healthy? Because it sort of seems like Harry and Chakotay are not dealing with the consequences. Like in our lives, we can't go back and fix something. So, does that hurt society or help us?
If we're looking from a realistic point of view, I think it hurts society.
Mm-hmm.
From a storytelling point, I think it's great because, of course, we want our crew to survive and we want continued missions. We don't want to see them end that way. And I believe it was with Mark on another episode of All Good Things, we discussed changing realities. And I'd really thought about it and continued to think about the answer that I gave that day. And no, I wouldn't go back and change something because despite trials of my own and mistakes I have made along the way and things, I probably should have done differently. I like where I'm at. And if I changed anything, that would put me on a completely different trajectory. And I could potentially lose people that are dear to me that have become into my life because of those paths that I took, or have opportunities that have advanced where I want to be in life disappear because I changed the direction that I went in the past. So I think in a real world situation, to have that ability would be extremely dangerous because the consequences wouldn't only fall upon you, would fall globally.
So are you saying that if you were in Harry Kim's shoes, you wouldn't have gone back to save Voyager? You would have let Voyager hang out under the ice, Captain Jeremiah?
Well, if I was in Harry Kim's shoes within the universe of Star Trek, absolutely. I would have done whatever it took to save Voyager because Voyager is everything.
No, but you personally, if you were put in that situation, what would you have done?
He answered it. He's like, well, if it's in Star Trek, then yes, we can go back in time and fix it. So damn straight, I'm going to go get him.
I'm trying to get him.
Yeah, if I was Harry Kim, I'd do the same thing. But if I'm, Jeremiah, I wouldn't.
So, Mark, question goes to you. Would you go back and change and get Voyager?
Yes, both versions of me. Star Trek version of me and me.
Oh.
Yeah, I'd do it for sure. Especially like if I had caused it. If it was like my life,
cause it.
You kind of did. He caused it because he sent the wrong coordinates or messed up the coordinates. So it made everybody crash in the ice planet. If that was me, I would have that guilt too, and then it would have been my life ruined, and probably Chakotay's life ruined, and then all the people you met that had family and friends on Voyager over the years that came to talk to you about, oh, my wife was on Voyager, blah blah blah. Did you ever know her? Yada. All those people. As lives you get affected and you get to meet year after year, imagine carrying all that around. Yeah, I would definitely be like, okay, let's fix this. Whatever happens, it's got to be better than this. So yeah, I'd do it.
But then you're cheating those consequences. You're not dealing. Oh, okay.
Your point?
All righty.
Is all of a sudden Spumoni ice cream going to just disappear from the universe because I made the change, something like that. Not that I like Spumoni. I don't know why that came into my head.
Well, I actually am. Oh, go ahead, Jeremiah.
I was going to say, one could argue that it was not Harry's fault, that it was Janeway's fault for agreeing to his plan to begin with.
Yeah, she was probably carrying that guilt from Caretaker still. She carried that guilt for a while of deciding to destroy it.
This was also season 5 too, and at the beginning of season 5, we had seen her complete shutdown from her guilt from caretaker at the beginning.
Mhm. Yeah. And I do really appreciate that we are seeing future Chakotay and Kim, and we're only seeing the effects of Voyager dying just on them. And it's like, well, Starfleet's doing fine. They're going off. We've got Captain Geordi, right? Everything's fine. It's not this massive end of the world high stakes. Like, it is very appropriate stakes for an episode. Discovery, I'm looking at you. Like, it just makes the perfect amount of sense for this story. And I'm glad they didn't take it to the hyperbole where it's like, oh, well, we don't have Voyager and now Starfleet's missing and they're, the end of the world.
Well, you
Michael
could look at
Burnham when
it-
she got drunk and she's just like, I did it. I saved all of the things. All of the things I saved. It was just like very self-aware Michael Burnham. I'm looking at you.
You could also argue, though, that had Voyager been destroyed at this point and not had the confrontation with the collective in Endgame, that the Queen would have not ended up working with the founders to have taken over the fleet in Picard.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because that was the same Queen. Right?
That was
Yeah.
the Endgame Queen. She had crawled her, consumed the collective in order to save herself.
Mm-hmm. So yes, we needed to get that time fixed. So this slipstream technology, can you sort of explain it to me, and why was it stopped being developed and taken offline and decided that they couldn't use it after this episode?
So the slipstream technology is similar to a Borg transwarp conduit. Similar, not the same. And part of it is it used instead of using dilithium crystals, it used benamite crystals, which were extremely rare and immediately began to decay when they put them into the engine. So, because they mentioned that the crystals have already begun to decay, if we don't use it now, we're never going to be able to use it.
Right, that's right. So
And
there was a clock on that.
Yes. And then Janeway had stated that they dismantled the drive because the technology wasn't safe to use at that time, and perhaps Starfleet could learn to make it safe down the road, which we see in Prodigy with the use of the Dauntless, because the Dauntless has slipstream drive.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's all connecting.
Yes, which is actually
this is a very important episode, Nelson.
It is.
Come on.
Which Voyager actually got the slipstream technology from the fake USS Dauntless at the end of season 4, Hope and Fear, when Arcturus disguised his ship as a Federation starship named Dauntless.
Mhm.
And that is how the Prodigy Dauntless became and got its name, is it's the first in its class, and it is a Dauntless class starship, which was developed by B'Elanna Torres.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This is exciting.
So in Prodigy, they're using established Voyager canon with the Dauntless and the slipstream drive to bring that in, and Starfleet has developed slipstream.
And close that story. Oh my gosh. Love it.
While watching this episode about slipstream, I was wondering why we all of a sudden we get flung into the 31st century or something, whatever, with Discovery. I don't know how far ahead they are, 10,000 years, whatever. Anyway,
32nd.
yeah, they're back to warp.
Well, they didn't have warp because they were afraid to use warp.
Yeah, like what? Huh? So
It's Discovery.
I don't. Okay. That's a good way to, we'll put a pin in that one. It's Discovery.
Oh, Mark. I love you.
I don't dislike the show. I've got a whole plethora of episodes coming up that we're going to focus on Discovery, and I love each and every one of them.
Look, I like Discovery.
But I do have my issues.
I agree. And if it wasn't for Discovery, we wouldn't have everything that came after it. So yeah. I love it. I'm not going to say anything bad on it. I'm just going to kind of look at it with the side eye and be like, you know what you did.
See, that's exactly how I feel about TOS right there. Exactly.
What was the episode of Adonis? Something about Adonis when they had the hand coming up out of the planet and grabbing the ship, and the shields are buckling, because the hand is anyway. Whatever.
Have you seen the Hallmark
Children of
preview
Adonis?
for this year's ornaments?
No,
It's the green hand.
Yeah.
It's the green hand holding the Enterprise.
Yeah.
oh Lord.
Why do they have to choose the most weird, crazy, nonsensical when there's so many other good moments that they could capture?
Well, why do they continually have to do year after year TOS ornaments and
Right.
ignore the rest of canon?
Yes,
Like,
agreed.
well, where are the Prodigy ornaments? Where, let's have some more DS9 and Voyager, because those are very limited. Like, I have got tons of Galaxy classes and Constitution class starships on my tree. It's like I need more from the rest of Star Trek.
Yes.
I have learned in my adult life to appreciate TOS in a way that I did not in my teens and 20s, when I would see one-off episodes, and even the animated series, I would see one-off episodes, and like, what in the heck were they smoking when they came up with this stuff? But with the heaviness of the world we are now, it mirrors the heaviness of the world in the 60s. And everything's going to be so post-apocalyptic, nihilistic, dark, all this stuff. And looking back at the episodes now, I'm like, well, this was a fun episode. Low stakes, fun, goofy, like our television. I liked it a lot. And so I'm growing to appreciate it more as an adult. And now going to Strange New Worlds, I so love that they're changing it up tonally each episode, and they are like the one the Elysium Kingdom, where they were all dressed up in the medieval outfits, was so Star Trek. That was the most Star Trek-y episode I'd seen in so long. Absolutely
really
love
was.
that episode. Oh,
don't get me wrong, I love the original series, and we wouldn't be here today without it.
Yeah. Agreed. Well, let's get to assimilations and regenerations. Listeners, you will remember assimilations are things that we liked and enjoyed about the episode, where generations, we're just going to send it back to the writer's room and say, fix this. So one assimilation that I have, I was so shocked when I saw Geordi on there, and his comm badge was total Picard. I mean, yes, there was a minor thing, but the way that it was, I'm like, those set departments for Picard came back, used it. I am sure this is just my headcanon. I don't have it for a fact, but that's exactly what it was. I'm like, oh my gosh, good job, set department. Good job, continuity.
Well, it's also the All Good Things comm badge, the in-game comm badge, and the one where they...
No.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
No.
It is, Amy.
All Good Things is the one from Parallels and
Nope.
that Riker with the bars.
Nope. You are incorrect.
Oh.
Google it right now, Amy. Googles. We'll wait.
Because it's in that it's that same hideous uniform that Beverly and Janeway wore. And then even in DS9 when Sisko...
what's that Parallels? I thought it was Parallels.
It's also in Prodigy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Admiral Janeway's wearing it in Prodigy.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. I am totally wrong.
Well, not totally. You just thought it was in that one part, but no, it was in all of the things.
But it is definitely an evolution into the Picard combat.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So that's my point, and I am assimilating that. Don't at me, listeners.
Well, I want to assimilate again the beautiful cold open we had in this episode. What a fun way to start with a little mystery. I love that. I love a good cold open. When they do it right, man, it really sets the tone for how the episode's going to be. And they did it with this one where you're like invested totally. What is happening? I love that.
I was so impressed with Roxanne Dawson when she broke that champagne bottle in engineering to, launch their slipstream. I want to do that. How fun just to break a champagne bottle. And that you'd have to put some power and force behind that to make that break like that. She did amazing, and I want to do that one day too.
That would be fun if they ever... Were you at Las Vegas in 2016 when they had Voyager's engineering room in the Mac Cosmetics booth? I wish they would bring that back and just let us, do breaking, have it as a game, break champagne bottles across the railing.
It was nice to see everybody in engineering celebrating. I think the slow motion that they did, the ticker tape, it was... it made you feel all the warm and fuzzy in the fact that the way they intercut the scenes, Ice Planet, back to happiness, Ice Planet, the back and forth, the balance that they struck with this episode was just brilliant. They did such a good job.
They did. One of my favorite shots of the episode is when Voyager is behind the Delta Flyer, and then it cuts to a Galaxy class. Like, it's seamless. It goes from past to future. And the Flyer is your focal point with a ship on its tail, and we go from friend to foe.
Ooh, nice. Yeah.
Well, I also loved the use of the Borg temporal transmitter to send a message to Seven in the past. I thought that whole idea was amazing, and it was a little mind-blowing. When you saw the Doctor holding up essentially part of Seven's skull with her eyeball still attached, that was kind of graphic. And I was like, nicely done. Like, it looked good. Go art department.
And it was unsettling too, because we know that he's holding 7 of 9 in his hand.
Yeah.
And it's like you dissected her. Like you took her apart.
It's a good thing he's a hologram.
Yeah. Well, and that's how you do an eyeball scene.
Oh.
Well, the beauty of that too is it was her artificial eye that he created for her.
Oh yeah, he had made her that eye.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes it more touching.
Which also makes it slightly less graphic because it's not organic.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay, but that does lead me to a regeneration I had, because I think that technology and sending it back through 7, like, love it, love it, love it. Again, that techno babble, amazing. But what didn't work for me, and I just felt like I was getting whiplash. It's like, okay, we're going to send the new coordinates back. Oh, it didn't work. Well, I'm just going to try again, and I'm going to send this other message. Well, how many freaking messages did he send? He sent the coordinates. He sent a message to himself, and then he sent the coordinates that got them safely out of the slipstream. Like, I'm wondering, how many messages really did he send?
So if he could send limitless messages without affecting the past, if he continuously sent them to the exact same time index, the one would overwrite the next one and keep resetting the timeline.
It overwrites it? Okay.
Yes. So if he kept sending them to the same temporal coordinates, each new message would have erased the last message from happening.
Okay, that makes more sense because
So in each one, he would have had embedded the secret message. Each one would have had the same secret message embedded in it.
Okay.
I have a dual assimilation regeneration. I think it's dual, and that is aged Harry Kim. So usually when they age a character, they'll add like the bags under the eyes and a bunch of like extra wrinkles and prosthetics and the gray hair and all this stuff to age up a character. And Harry Kim, like, he still kind of looked hot. I don't know. Like, he looked too good for like being like 15, 20 years older. Like, he was kind of getting it. I don't know if it's because he's Asian. I don't know, whatever. But rock and roll, he still looked hot. So it was like an assimilation, but also regeneration. I don't know.
So he's Daddy Kim
now. Yeah.
But and what's funny is if you look at the timelines, how much worse they made him look in Endgame, and that would have only been a 5 to 7 year time difference.
Right.
Agreed.
Yeah, and so the aging was completely off. They could have kept him in the same style of makeup in Endgame and just added a little bit more gray, but they really aged him up in Endgame.
Yeah.
I feel like
Okay,
they just gave
so
him a wig.
it was, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
his
it's a
hair
wig.
wasn't that long.
Yeah. Ugh.
Want to run my fingers
Um,
through it.
I'm going to follow your lead with that, Mark, because I have what could be assimilation and regeneration at the same time. I loved the Janeway Chakotay relationship. Like, she's preparing dinner with candlelight. That obviously means that they are a couple, more so than Picard and Beverly. Like, they're doing stuff. That's definitely evidence of shipping going on there.
I always thought of it as Janeway knew that she's like, we're doing this, we're going home. It's time to get this relationship going because you're not going to be my first officer as soon as we get home. We're all going to get reassigned. So let's start doing this. Like I can open the door.
She comes up, hand on his neck. Like, come on, the close proximity. I'm like, okay, I'm shipping this. So, sort of the regeneration that goes with it is his relationship with Tess. Like, I mean, yeah, I get that, you move on and da da da. And she's a great character and I think fit him well. She was very supportive, but there just wasn't chemistry like we have with Chakotay and Janeway.
And who takes their girlfriend with them to resurrect their old girlfriend? Like,
right.
You're taking your girlfriend with you to bring your dead girlfriend back from the dead.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
Well, I had one more regeneration, and that was from the Doctor and Harry. Like, when Harry first switches on the Doctor, like, I mean, it's like switching on a friend you haven't seen in 20 years that's been long dead. You'd think he'd be a little warmer to him. Instead, he's like, follow me, or you're getting out of here. Like, treating him like he was like a wrench or a hammer he just picked up off the table. It's like, no, like, this is your friend. Like, be like, oh, Doc, it's so good to see you. It could have taken a couple of lines of dialogue, a couple extra seconds in the scene, and like, I have no time to explain right now, but please follow me. That would have been so much nicer.
But to your point, because they had Federation coming after them, like time was of the essence. And the Doctor, in all of his state your medical emergency, the emergency is that we have to do this right now. We will do catch up later. So with his training and programming, he should have been more, all right, tell me what to do.
Also, too, think of it to defend Harry. He's in the time is of the essence, and he's also traumatized by where he is. He's literally surrounded by all of his friends who are dead. Like, everybody he loved is around him, whether they're in that room or not. He's with those bodies.
But that was one of his friends, and he was standing there alive.
But he wants to get off that ship as soon as possible. We can hug as soon as we're back on the flyer.
I didn't get that vibe, but anyway.
Yeah.
Also, he was in a haunted house type situation. Let's get out of here.
Well, guys, let's get to some trivia. One little bit that I like about this is that it was directed by LeVar Burton, and we get a wonderful appearance and it's Captain
LaForge of the Starship Challenger.
Of the USS Challenger, which is a Galaxy class starship.
And that is one area of opportunity missed in Picard. The Star Drive, it would have been better canonically connected to have used the Challenger Star Drive over the Syracuse.
The one that Captain
LaForge in a different timeline.
Of course,
yeah.
Yes.
Like, that would have just been a little Easter egg for Voyager fans of going, oh, I know where the Challenger came from.
Yes.
Geordi was Commodore in Picard. I mean, he had to have at some point been promoted to captain, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So are we thinking it was probably the Challenger?
Could have been.
It's
could have
my
been the
head canon
Syracuse
now.
for all we know. I mean, maybe that's how he got the Syracuse.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's my headcanon that the drive section of the Enterprise D is, yes, Challenger.
Yeah. It was when Starfleet changes names on ships. Who knows?
As was often the case during story development, executive producer Brennan Braga's first idea for this particular episode was visual, as the initial inspiration was thought of Voyager buried under ice. In a retrospective interview, former staff writer Brian Fuller recalled, "It was very exciting. You know that the episode really started with an image. We were all in the break room. We were all talking with Joe Menosky and Brendan Braga, and the central image of that show was Voyager crashing in the ice and sinking and finding the frozen crew decades later."
The persona of the future Kim was conceptually influenced by how the character had been portrayed in the previous two-parter, explained Joe Menosky. The future Kim in Timeless was directly inspired by the belted around Kim and edgy Kim from The Killing Game.
Do you see that connection
Mm-hmm.
to The Killing Game?
What's crazy is Garrett's stated that he didn't really like The Killing Game. Like, it was not like his favorite, in spite of the fact that he had his own little arc. And I loved him in The Killing Game. I thought he was fantastic. But he would have rather been with everybody else on the holodeck sequence and part of that whole rescue scenario. But yeah, that was a great, I think it was a great standout episode for him, The Killing Game. And I can see a lot of his portrayal of that character being similar, or that version of himself being similar to this version as well. So I love that.
I do too, and I love The Killing Game, and I think that it was a good choice to have Kim in that position of being the outside of the holodecks and being still aware of who he was.
Yeah. Well, in common with Garrett Wang, Rob Bonshun, I'm assuming a scriptwriter, slightly regretted that the episode was not a two-parter. He says, "I almost wish it was." He relates that he had actually expected the production crew to film Chakotay and Kim stealing the Delta Flyer from a Federation dry dock and embarking on their mission to change history by saving Voyager. He says that would have been nice. And I have to agree. This would be a great two-parter.
It would have
been fantastic.
And the reason that it was not done as a two-parter was because it was the 100th episode. So they wanted it to be contained to a single in order to keep it special as the 100th.
That makes sense. Yeah. Because they were getting so good at doing two-parters and three-parters, with the S9, that it would have been really good. So that really does make sense to me. Okay.
Well, I think they could have done it if they had that first part of stealing the ship and all of that been 99, and then the 100th could have been them saving the day. I don't know. Minutia.
Yeah. And now, 30 years later, we cover 1 and 2 parts together, so it still could have been.
Well, now instead of having a season of different episodes, other than Strange New Worlds, we have a season of one storyline. So it's basically one 10-hour episode.
Right.
Thankfully, we have Strange New Worlds. That's all I got to say.
Well, the events of this episode are similar to the series finale Endgame, in which a future former crew member of the Starship Voyager, this time Admiral Janeway, attempts to change time in order to have Voyager return to the Alpha Quadrant sooner. In both cases, the Galaxy-class starship USS Challenger makes an appearance. Ta-da!
One thing with Endgame is, what did Lieutenant Carey do to Janeway that she didn't go back just a few days earlier to save him too? She waited until after he was dead to show up to save the crew.
That's always a question, is like, why did you choose this moment to come back in time? Like in Generations, Picard. Come on now.
Right? He could have saved the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Final thoughts on Timeless. Jeremiah, let's start with you.
Again, one of my favorite episodes. It delves on one of my favorite subjects in a different genre of horror. I love ghost ship stories. Anything on, disaster at sea, a derelict vessel. I absolutely relish it. So seeing Voyager in a horror type aspect of, everybody's dead and you're on a derelict ship. They even included, like, you could hear sounds of the hull creaking from the pressure of the ice. It made it that much more
Yeah.
immersive and delved into an area that Star Trek doesn't generally go into. Makes it very, very enjoyable for me. Again, like Mark stated, it's one of my go-to episodes.
Yeah, we need to remember this part when we do our spooky, scary series. Just, the highlight. Obviously not the whole episode, but yeah,
Right.
there's spooky, scary horror vibe from that.
I mean, the imagery, I think, of the crewmen in the Jeffries tube is more startling than the bridge crew just laying there.
Yeah.
Because as going on the bridge, you expect to run into the bodies. So consciously, it's like you're prepared for that. But when Kim opens that Jeffries tube and he's there frozen like that was startling. You weren't expecting that. Like, who's in the Jeffries tube during an emergency?
I was just thinking that as you were talking.
It's like, I get that, in a normal situation, yeah, you may need to go send somebody into a Jeffries tube, but they were crash landing. Why is anybody in a Jeffries tube?
Well, Troy in her command test had to send Geordi to his death. So that was going.
That's true. But he was
probably trying to prevent the inertial dampeners from failing or something like that.
Okay.
He gets sent by B'Elanna, be like, okay, like it looks like these are going to fail. And he's like, I can fix it. Blah, blah, blah. And he goes down there and just doesn't get to it in time.
But would it have been more powerful to have seen B'Elanna in Jeffries tube?
Yes, it would have. And I was thinking, because like those crewmen, like I didn't recognize any of them. I mean, of course they were covered in ice, but still that recognition. And it's like someone we don't know, Jeffries tube, and then Janeway. And so to the credit, that one struck me because I was just expecting to see some random crewman. No, this is our Janeway.
Did you think it was weird that everybody on the bridge was face up so that you could recognize them? Is like somebody should have been like Janeway being thrown from her chair where they had her. It's like, well, we saw her sitting in her chair when the ship went down, but now she's laying on the stairs going to the bridge, going up to the chair. Rather, like I don't see how her body could have gotten in that position. And like Paris was laying to the right or the left of the helm. Shouldn't he have been flung over the helm?
Right. Yeah.
That's kind of blocking and staging I would have done, is I would have made sure that they were in logical positions from the trajectory of the crash.
Well, we'll send your notes to LeVar and say, do better next time, please.
Yeah, please do.
In my head canon, I think that people, as the ship crashed, got flung in whatever directions, didn't die, tried to crawl to like something, and they all died mid-crawl. There we go.
But they were crawling on their backs.
Oh, Jesus.
Just whatever you do, please land face up.
I'm trying to help, Jeremiah. Come on.
Mark, your final thoughts.
What a fantastic episode. Love watching this. I could watch this over and over again. Joe Menosky episode, love that. The timey-wimey aspect, love that. I like Kim being the hero. He was one of my favorite characters in the show. Probably don't hear that a lot, but yeah, I love Harry Kim episodes. And I have to say that on this rewatch, I was really surprised when Harry gets the letter from future Harry and he looks at that. I started to tear up. It really got me like emotional. I was there with him and I felt that for some reason and didn't expect that. So it took you on a little roller coaster ride of emotions. This episode did.
It did. And at that scene that you mentioned, I was like, why is Janeway just saying, oh, it's okay, Harry, da, da, da. And I'm like, he's trying to figure out how in the heck Seven got this transmission. Like, that is a problem that we need to solve. And Janeway, why aren't you worried? Why aren't you concerned? Oh, because she already knew that there was a future Kim and da, da, da. I was getting a little upset for Janeway because she wasn't curious about how this happened. So
I always thought that Janeway in the back of her mind was like, it's fine. In the back of her mind, she's noting reason to not promote Harry. He didn't get us home.
Oh,
I have a book in my mind of every mental reason why Janeway didn't promote him, like all the notes of another reason why.
That is so funny. Oh my gosh. Well, I too very much enjoyed this episode for the first time. Super fun. These timey-wimey ones, just, yeah, they make your brain start thinking, and I absolutely love it. This is a great, like you said, Harry Kim episode. Um, good highlight on Chakotay and like their passion, and it just shows that they've got this family, that they're going to do anything to save their family, and they end up doing so. So great episode. Mark, what are we going to talk about next week?
I couldn't be any more excited. This is going to be great. Next week, we're going to be talking about our genetic engineering series. This is part 3. And, well, how timely is this? We are going to be talking about the Strange New Worlds episode, Ghosts of Illyria. I love this episode. It's the first time we see Uhura inside of her quarters. We see what that kind of looks like. Evidently, it's a shared quarters with a couple of guys, a couple of young guys that may or may not be jumping around in their underwear, facing heat lamps. I don't know. There's a whole lot to this episode that is enjoyable. So, yeah, can't wait to do a rewatch.
And didn't I just watch this?
You did accidentally, because
Yes.
we were talking about Ghosts in the Machine last week, and you watched this one instead. So nicely done, Amy. You've already watched it.
Oh. Well, we would love to hear what you thought of today's episode and hope you'll join our Facebook group, the BQN Collective, to continue our discussion there. You can also tweet your thoughts at AllGoodPod. Please follow the network on Twitter and Instagram at BQN Podcasts. We've also partnered with our friends at the Fandom Podcast Network, where you can find us by searching their master feed. So, Mark, when you're not sending yourself a secret encoded message to change the outcome, where can people find you?
Will do. We already talked about that. I would 100% do that. But when I'm not changing history, people can find me in the BQN Collective Facebook group. They can find me on Twitter at MarkWhite207. They can find me if they become a patron of the network on Patreon, where I host a show, It's Green. And Jeremiah, where can people find you while you are not rewatching the movie Ghost Ship for the 100th time?
When I am not rewatching it, which I will be here later today because it's Sunday, you can find me over on Twitter at Captain Jeremiah, as well as Captains_Couch to follow my podcast, The Captain's Couch. You can also find me over on TikTok at Captain Jeremiah Brown. So, Amy, when you are not watching Voyager episodes for the very first time, where can people find you?
Well, I hope to be doing that a lot more. And you can find me, listeners, here on the network, where I'm co-hosting Union Federation and Galaxy Class. I am on Twitter at Miss Amy Nelson, but my favorite place right there, BQN Collective, our Facebook group.
Please hit the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a star rating and written review. That helps others to find the show. You can also follow the entire network's podcast with our master feed by searching BQN. This way you won't miss any of our fine shows like Galaxy Class, Infinite Diversity, Union Federation, History with the Szilagys, What's the T-Bev, Trek Spritz Quiz, The Captain's Couch, and Bargain Bin Gamer.
At this time, we would like to thank our associate producers, Mahendran Radhakrishnan and Tim Cooper. A special thanks to Graham Kelly for our opening and closing music, and Mark White for our artwork each and every week.
If you'd like to help us keep all of our shows coming to you each week, you can become a patron of the network on Patreon. We will add you to the Hive Mind Facebook group so you can enjoy It's Green, Amy's Math Moments, and other network perks. With a monthly subscription of $5 or more, you can join our meetings on the Hive Mind Roundtable discussion on the second Saturday of each month. Visit patreon.com/BQN to get all the details and watch your messages.
Thank you for listening.
We hope you'll join us as we search out
all good things.